It's a really rare one, honestly. Like that's priced appropriately. I'll tell you what, though, I'll sell it to you for $35. I ain't paying more than $10 for a Super Nintendo game. All right, you just don't know what you're looking at then. So we're gonna put this back here, and over on the shelf over there, you can get the dusty old sports games there for $1 a piece.
That's like he goes into a comic shop. He's like, I ain't paying all this money for a comic from the 70s. You're out of your damn mind. This is from the 50s. I'll give you a quarter.
I can get it on a reprint for $10. Yeah, go for it. Fucking chode.
Grab your chodes. Grab your toads and all that stuff. It's the reset button, episode 39. We segued it. We did it. We're started.
We are in here.
We're in.
Well, Travis, you're better at this than I. Where can everybody check us out? And that's the both of us.
Well, first of all, hi, Dannon. Welcome back. And yes, you can check us out. Me at the Hibiki TMD, Tannen at Tannen's Bum, both on Twitter. Check out the Facebook group, Hibiki TMD, the reset button page, all that goodness on Facebook. Hit that subscribe right down below. Of course, subscribe. Hibiki TMD right here on YouTube. Is that what you wanted, Tannen? Is that up your alley?
That's the
How you been?
that I wanted.
We are so consistent with recording this episode. I'm so proud of us. We're on the ball this time.
We are. Well, it just so like we can't just have a set date these days. We gotta figure our schedule out now.
Yeah.
But this just worked out very good, and so I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy with the fact that we got together tonight. Recording date is 4/23, folks. So if Travis is 5 days out, that's understandable. But yeah, episode 39. This is also what I'm considering our post 420 special. So all you 420 kids out there who ate your Taco Bells and your brownies the other day and got your blunts and your 40s, this goes out to you.
Hope you guys had a safe sound 420. And like Tannen said, yes, it's great to be back. Tannen, we got like 4 new subscribers from our last episode. I want to thank everyone for all the great feedback. Everyone really enjoyed our last episode. We always enjoy recording it, but thank you guys so much for the love. The road to 700 subscribers continues, Tannen. That being said, what you been playing this week?
Oh, this week I actually went ahead and busted out the classics. As a lot of us know, I've got hundreds upon hundreds of PS2 games that have been untapped and untouched within the shelves of my realm. And one thing that I noticed was I have a lot of sleeve games. And when I will say sleeve games, and some of you may know back a couple years ago, GameStop was just getting rid of a lot of their just disc games. And they'd be in these sleeves and these little... I don't know, like this little filing system, and Karen and I went on a buy-a-thon with them. We just like started grabbing them by the handful. And so I would also like to announce that before Halloween, since I have so many survival horror games, I want to actually have 6 months before Halloween where I play as many survival horror games and not just play them to try them out. I want to beat them and finish them, each and every single one of them. 6 months now before Halloween. We are coming up on that season, and I've started now. So this week I started playing on the PlayStation 2. Since I've hooked up my backwards compatible PS3, I started playing X-Files, Resist or Serve.
Oof, what a deep ass cut. Do tell, I know nothing about this game.
First off, I really hope as you're editing this, you're going to be pulling up footage of it. Because, well, dude, they got David Duchovny's face really great, but man, Scully's, whew. So anyway, though, your Fox Mulder and your Scully, it plays like a Resident Evil game. There's a lot of replay value to it, actually, from what I can see, because like Resident Evil 2, at the beginning of it, you can either pick Scully or Mulder to start out, and then the game will play differently depending on what character you play as. So that's kind of cool. It plays a lot like Resident Evil 2, especially Resident Evil 2. Not necessarily 1, but 2 more so, because The camera angles are very weird and sometimes frustrating, but the combat, I will admit, is actually pretty fluent. Um, so far, so good with what I'm playing. I'm stuck in a town. There's zombies everywhere, and I'm actually stuck on a puzzle. Um, but that is the way of the Resident Evil. There's a lot of backtracking involved. I haven't even found the map, so when I go to pull up the map hasn't been found. I'm digging around for that. I'm sure it's in a random ass spot. But yeah, I actually am really enjoying it. One of the things that I wish, and I feel like we should go back and record it, is Mulder. What I've discovered combat wise is I can shoot a zombie and they'll hit the ground. And then it's Mulder. If there's no other zombies or nothing else attacking me, I can just kick things to death.
Nice.
So one of the funniest things was I went to open up an ice box and a cat jumped out, started attacking me, so I shot it. And then I just started kicking the fucking thing.
God.
Oh man, it was terrible. I had to kick the thing like 20 fucking times before it finally died. Oh man, but hey, that's X-Files Resistor serve so far.
Who
Hopefully,
developed that game?
you know what? I'm not even sure. Fox Interactive was of course the ones that released it. As far as development goes, hold on, I'm gonna look it up. It's a loading. Yeah.
There you go. So it says here it's an interactive point and click
dude.
adventure.
It's a 2000. No, this is not. No, the interactive.
I'm reading the wrong one.
That's the PS1 one, and I'm gonna make that your game of the week, buddy boy.
Oh my god! All right, starting early.
Oh my god, dude, it is. So, you said you were playing PS1 games, so guess what? That's also one of my favorite games. Actually, I got it for Christmas one year, the point and click one. Oh my god! Just all I have to tell you is point your gun at the hotel lady and shoot her. Point your gun at Skinner and shoot him. Just shoot everybody. Make sure you save before you do it. But keep just shooting everybody.
Well, I'll go ahead. I'll give you your game this week, Early Tannen. It's for the PlayStation 1 also. I want you to go back, and I want you to play Klonoa, Door to Phantomville. Great game. I've been playing that. Like you said, a bunch of PlayStation 1 games. Real quick, have you ever played that game?
No, but I think we own it.
It's a great game. Great game. And the GBA game, which is kind of different, but it's also really good.
Well, I'm sticking you with an FMV game here. Of course, based off the show, but
fine, Mad Dog McCree. Go play it.
Yeah, well, this is kind of more like a Phantasmagoria type deal, but it's POV. Half the time you don't know where you're going. I wouldn't care if you look up a walkthrough.
I won't spend. I know you got another game to talk about. I won't take a lot of time. Yes, I've been diving into the PS1 library this week like Scrooge McDuck into his vault, but I'll just talk about two games real quick. The last episode, I was inspired to go back and check out Mega Man X4. About halfway through, Tannen, I gotta say, that game's great. I don't feel it gets talked about enough. I feel like it gets outshadowed by, or outshined, I should say, by the first three, the SNES one. But that game, especially for its time, was really good. I don't have any problems with that game. Hit detection's on. It's fun. You can be Zero or Mega Man. I chose to be Zero. Looking back, I kind of probably should have been Mega Man because you're stuck with the sword. But you do get upgrades. You do get a blaster eventually, but not right away. It's really fun. Check it out. The difficulty's there. It's Mega Man. I feel like it fell off after 4, though, Tannen, like we said last week.
Yeah, that was a big discussion of last week.
One big other one, and then I'll throw it back to you for the other game you play this week because it sounds interesting as fuck. Spyro the Dragon. I streamed it. You guys saw it on the channel.
Oh yeah, I watched that. I watched you actually do that too.
Okay, it's been years, and I mean goddamn years since I played Spyro at all. Any of the 3 games. It gets very tiresome. That especially on the first one with no quick look, which in '98 you don't have a quick look button. What the fuck? Even Mega Man Legends had that. It just gets. I don't know. The camera angle isn't game breaking, but man, it has its problems at a certain point. It's just not a lot to it. Not a lot there. I think at the time
it was like it was trying to be Mario 64, and as far as but the mechanic just wasn't there for the camera angle. I feel like it wasn't as fluent.
I would never say that, especially the first one we're talking about here is the only one I really played this week at all. I wouldn't say it's a bad game ever, but I will say it's a disappointing experience, especially if you played it when you were younger, because back then everything seemed like it was on a bigger scale. It definitely has that watered down feel to it, but it's not a bad game. It's fun for what it is. Obviously the sequels are better, but those were the two main games I want to focus on this week. Had a good time with both. Didn't hate having to play either one, but yeah. What was your last game you were telling me off air that sounds zany
Oh,
as fuck?
oh yeah, no. Before I go into this, just to point out, this developer who made this X Files game that I'm talking about, they also made Knockout Kings, which holy shit, that's a
Oh, that game was fun.
classic.
Yeah, those are fun games.
And then it looks like they did a lot of other stuff though, like licensed stuff, like Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, as well as NCAA March Madness 2001. Really interesting for being a you know,
They're all over the place.
yeah, like what were y'all doing? um,
What
the
was
other
that
game that
hot
I was
little
playing,
spicy number you were telling me about earlier?
the other game that I was playing is called Chollop. It's actually on PS4 right now. You can play it. They re-released it. It's from the makers of the same people that brought us gems like Harvest Moon. Uh, this game, like Harvest Moon, works on a day-to-day basis. You are a poor kid that moves into a town, and everybody knows you as the poor kid. By the way, you kind of look like you like walk around. You kind of look like a chimpanzee in a suit. But like you can name him anything you want. So I named my character Sexy Boy, because I knew that the whole goal was to look for love. So you move into the town, and your whole goal is to win this girl's heart over. But in the meantime, you have to gain experience, which is like kissing other people, including dudes, to like to get to get your experience to be able to woo this girl over. The thing is if you don't get to know people soon enough or you kiss the wrong person, they literally will fucking kill you. You have to go back and save a lot back at your dad's. I played for like 3 hours straight and then forgot to save. And I hit the wrong button. Tried to kiss this dude playing guitar. He whooped my fucking ass and killed me. So there's gonna be a lot of backtracking going on. Challop, it's on, as I said, it's on in a high def version on PS4 right now, or it's PS3, one of them. It was one of the discount games actually here of late. I would totally check it out, especially if you're a Harvest Moon fan, because this is a different take though, where you're not constantly tending your crops. You're just walking around talking to people. A lot of people would find it boring. I love the Harvest Moon games, and I love the zany characters that are in this Chalif game. There's even this like one like Asian lady that like she's like really nice to you, but then it like plays like psycho music and she like stares you down. Uh,
I'll
it's
say one thing
hilarious.
about our game of the week segment every week. It is, my God, it's various as hell and random each time.
It is. Well, I mean, just that's what video games are half the time.
Yep.
But yeah, Challop. Just for what I played this week, it's a game. I will only get into it more, but as I said, my focus. I want to beat X Files, and going now back into modern times. Actually, a game that I really want to rent that's been getting rave reviews that our listeners in the comment section should comment on. I'm curious about, and you said you played a little bit of it, is the new God of War, which came out a couple days ago. Travis, what did you think from what you played?
Excellent. Left me wanting more. Most definitely. Just the way that you control your son. It's great. It's a beautiful game. It's just from, and it felt like basically all I really played was like, it's right after my buddy completed the tutorial, kind of. So it's a little bit after. He was just like, "Here, check it out, man. You want to?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I, like 10 minutes on it and whatnot. But I have watched all my, like, shout out to JD, my buddy JD that's been on Slam Pigs. He streamed like 7 hours of it yesterday, I think, on his channel. So I caught a good bit of that when I could. But it looks excellent. It's gotten obviously nines and tens across the board from all reviewers. I haven't seen anyone say a bad word about it yet. I feel like people that will either don't like open world games to begin with, so you know what I mean, or they're just doing it to be contrary because it looks like a fucking masterpiece. It's nothing like the other God of War games. Like we said, open world. Just and this one, unlike the other God of War games, because I only played the first two. Come at me, but I only played God of War. But those seem like you're thrown right into the action. This isn't anything like that. I'll say that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I only ever played the first one, and I've got what is it, Ascension on PSP. I kind of played that. But yeah, like it's just I always associate them as an action game when I found this was going to be an open world game, and not only like we've gone away from the Greek gods. I mean, like Kratos is, spoiler alert, has killed Zeus in the third game and shit. Like all that's done. And now we've got this new game where he's moved to the north in the Norse area, and it's Norse gods and Norse creatures. Really does kind of put a spin on everything.
Look, and hot take time. Yes, we are in that age of Skyrim-itis where every Western fucking RPG feels like The Witcher at this point. That's third person, and it does, and in a way that kind of sucks that Breath of the Wild felt like Kid's Witcher, and this has Witcher aspects because The Witcher was so it set the bar impossible to overtake unless there's a sequel to The Witcher. I feel like, but
No, and
you know what I mean? So I feel like yes, it's definitely it kind of sucks that God of War went the Western RPG standard route with open world, but I feel like if any series kind of needed it, it was this because you can only
yeah,
dive into the shit so many times. I feel like for it, I don't
yeah,
know,
and
especially
you
now
never
his
know.
age. It's you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
And you know what? If you want, if any developer feels like, hey, let's go back to the Greek shit, you always can,
Right?
because there's untold stories within that. I mean, like the whole
No fucking
Kratos
DLC out
legacy
there.
was,
Yep.
yeah. Well, the whole Kratos thing was just, that's a like with the Greek stuff. That was a very long period of time. So you could always make a new game if they really wanted to appeal to those action
Oh,
fans.
they
But
will. This
I
game's
mean,
selling tremendously. There's
but I mean,
definitely years.
as far as this Norse stuff goes and everything, I think they went the right direction. From what I've seen, I haven't played it yet though, so I can't. So you brought up The Witcher though, and honestly, going into
Unintentional
gaming
segue.
news, yeah, Netflix just agreed to do a Witcher series.
Mhm.
Holy shit!
This is up there with like when they announced Castlevania and it ended up being tremendous. I'm just as hyped,
Yeah,
if not more hyped, for this.
it's
Excuse me.
going to be a thing, and it's going to be probably um incredible.
I mean, how could it not? It's the same guy. And the Castlevania, for any of you guys that haven't seen it, the anime, get out off of your ass and go see it. It was great. And it was not the complete origin. It was kind of like an alternate universe type thing, but it was
Oh,
well
wait,
done.
wait, hey, I do stand corrected. It's not from the same producers, but they're just segueing off of the success of what they did.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Still.
looks like it's probably going to be more of a three-dimensional animation thing, and 2020 is the projected release date. So we got a couple years. But when you announce a series, you announce a series. Like, hey, we're developing this. We signed it. We're fucking Netflix.
Say
This
what you
actually,
want, man. And people
yeah,
come at him all the time. People say Project Red and The Witcher 1 and 2 suck. They don't suck. They're completely different. What Project Red did with 3 was completely different from what the first two were. You know what I mean, Tan? It was
yeah.
a whole other scale. First of all, it's apples and oranges. And most of the people that say Witcher 2 sucks and all that never played Witcher 2. That's the funniest part of it. You know what I
Witcher
mean?
2 was a good fucking game.
Yeah. I will say that one of the most successful IPs in the last 10 years is the
mm,
Witcher. At the end of the day,
the
now
Witcher
we're seeing
series.
it branching off.
Well, yeah, the thing about Witcher 3 is I was coming off of Breath of the Wild. I have Witcher 3, but I just can't get it. Even because I was like, it was like I was trying to play two of the same game at the same time,
Right. Yeah.
and it was just too fucking much. Like even though like yeah, the Witcher's a good fucking game. It's a deserving of a series. Great goddamn storyline. This does open up the door to me though with Netflix. Like, okay, so now we're on to our second video game based franchise series.
Well, also it also goes back to what we say sometimes. So to tie the bow on the Witcher stuff, to what we just said with God of War, where you take a series that needs shaken up and you make it open world and you know, to kind of fit the mold of the other ones, and it did nothing but tremendous things for that series. I shudder to think where The Witcher would be if it never changed its path, so to speak. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't
it would have
think,
been
yeah,
doing well, but it would never be on the scale it is now. Like,
hell no.
no. But go on, Tana. So.
Mm. Yeah, it's okay. And, you know, a lot of games are taking this. Nobody ever points out the Lord of the Rings video game franchise. And, you know, we went from a beat 'em up, when that's what it was, a beat 'em up, to a turn-based RPG, to
Third
a
Age,
open
that was a
world
good game.
thing.
Just took forever.
Yeah. But, you know, and then you ended up with Shadow of Mordor, which is like a Breath of the Wild. It's an open goddamn world. With Lord of the Rings movie music in the background. Let's see here. Another thing is tomorrow, which probably after the show airs, or before the show airs, though, Detroit Becoming Human, the playable demo is going to be out in the United States tomorrow. It came out yesterday in Australia and Japan. I am not reading any reviews on what people think in Australia about it. But tomorrow it will be available in Europe and, you know, of course, the United States. This is a game that I'm hyped about. A lot of people get pissy with me when I talk about games like Heavy Rain or Indigo Prophecy, otherwise known as Fahrenheit. And of course, the one that I shit on in the whole series that David Cage has made, which is not the David Bowie based game. I've never played that. I want to play it really bad. But what I like to call Ellen Page crying the game, which is also known as Beyond Two Souls, my least favorite in the series because, damn, Ellen Page, would you quit fucking crying? But Heavy Rain and these games, these plot-based games, which, you know, oh, it's like watching a movie. Yeah, well, you know what? The plot twists I really enjoyed. David Cage has a way of doing these interactive / movie games, these things. Indigo Prophecy came out well before a lot of the QuickTime event games really got popular. I feel like he kind of started the genre with Indigo Prophecy / Fahrenheit, where you're tracking a serial killer as two different cops. And you know, it was just an interesting premise to have in a game for the first time ever. And it was a game that Karen and I really enjoyed playing. And then we had Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain made us shit ourselves with a plot twist on that one. With both of us sitting there, of course, like, you know, I was usually holding the controller, but I would let Karen like tell me what to do. Like we both took turns making decisions.
Honestly, all I want to do now, since you brought it up, is play Omicron Nomad Soul, the David Bowie fucking.
See, I haven't played that one. But with that all said, I'm just excited about this Detroit Becoming Human demo coming out tomorrow. I definitely will be getting up early in the morning to start downloading it, so that way it's ready for when Karen comes in from work, and we can both sit down and see if we're going to be blown away and want to actually pre-order this fucker, or say fuck it. Redbox it is.
You said the word disappointment. This is kind of in the news. Kind of. I mean, Payday 2 got terrible reviews on the Switch that just came out, like 5s out of 10 and whatnot. People said it was dog shit, the worst version possible. I mean, you've played it. I've seen a lot of people play it. I've never got my hands on it because I didn't play it on Steam or whatever. But it looked pretty smooth. Like it didn't seem. I can only imagine how bad it really was on the Switch.
I don't know. I played the PS4 version. And just I wasn't into it. You know, it was just like a poor man's GTA 5 to me. You know, I just wasn't really into it. You know, I would have rather played fucking Hardline.
Right.
And I'm sure there's some people in the comment line that are gonna be like, "Fucking no, Hardline was a completely different game." Blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, I know, and I would have rather played that. Like, just throw me into the fucking like bank robbery, or throw me in after the bank robbery went wrong, so I could just, you know, shoot some cops and get the fuck out of there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, some people are diehard fans of Payday 2, though, and you know what? I did like the premise of it. It was a good game. You know, like everybody wants to have a interactive Reservoir Dogs game, but it just didn't appeal to me too much at the same time. It just seemed really complicated. The RPG elements kind of sucked. I just didn't like it in the first place, and now they're saying, "Oh, the fucking the Switch version is so shitty," and I'm just like, "What? Was it a great game to begin with?"
SNK did just announce coming out for the Switch. Lo and behold, 40th anniversary, which not the collection you'd think, not their MVS, their pre-MVS stuff. So we're talking like shoot 'em ups and beat 'em ups that I've never heard of.
Mm.
Like 16 games have been announced, but there's apparently a ton more. Going for fuck,
Yeah,
shit,
I'll
pretty
have to take a
expensive.
look at that list because I found all of the SNK classic shit that we have for the PS2.
Yeah.
And also, I found Sega Classics Volume 1 and 2 that includes Sega CD games for the PS2.
This week's game of the week from last week. Speaking of holding up well, we'll start with yours. Mario Tennis, Nintendo 64, one of the
Mm-hmm.
maybe my favorite tennis game ever, honestly.
No, I'm sorry. I like the action of the Wii Tennis more, but this one was an introduction to what Wii Tennis was going to become. You had your super shots and everything. And Daisy, this was our first introduction to Daisy. I feel like
Daisy, I can't do it.
well back from Game Boy. Like we actually she had a voice and she had
Super Mario Land.
a thing to her. You know, like finally from the Game Boy. Like oh my god, this is Daisy. You know, and I remember like playing this game. I would rent this game and I would be like, you know, who the fuck is Daisy? And then it was like, you know, then a friend of mine was just like, dude, that's the princess from the. Well, no, they said that it was the princess from Donkey Kong, which is believable, but they were
Who is
wrong.
Pauline, by the way, which is
That
neither
was
of them.
Pauline. But no, Daisy. Daisy ended up being, you know, the princess from, of course, Super Mario Land.
Yeah.
And which damn Mario, like. No wonder Peach was fucking Luigi. You were leaving the Mushroom Kingdom, go.
When
You
Super
know,
Mario Land came out, I think we were just so excited as kids to be able to play Mario on a Game Boy. We didn't realize it was from an alternate kind of universe in a way. It was a different cast of characters besides Mario. We were just so happy. Like we knew it was. This is kind of weird because
well,
the
no,
music
dude,
was a little
there
off.
was Mario, and Mario was in a sub. Mario had a
Hmm.
submarine.
Yeah,
You know,
plane. He had a plane and the very end. Well, spoiler alert. Like
yeah,
very, he flies something in the end of
yeah.
the game.
But at the very end, you have a plane. Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely a way to design to keep the Game Boy version exciting because it was black and white.
I
But
think
you
you had a
know,
fucking plane, right?
yeah, you definitely get in a plane.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been.
Definitely get in a plane. But you know, like, and then you had Super Mario Land 2, which holy shit! I mean, you went to a world where like it was like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and everything was huge, and then you go into another door, and then like you were the giant. Do you remember that? Fuck, man.
Which was a twist on what we would see in Mario 3 with Giant World, but there wasn't that where they flip it like they did in
Yeah,
there.
that didn't happen. Yeah, that didn't. Like there are sometimes like I've played Mario Land 2 like recently and been like, this is a really innovative Mario title.
Even
Like, if
3,
they-
where your fucking Wario was really fun.
Well, yeah. Three. That was the first one where you are Wario. Though. But I'm just I'm just saying as far as being Mario goes, you know I don't know. And then you had the Nintendo comics too, where
Yeah. But yeah,
he
Mario Tennis. We could talk, guys. We
yeah.
could talk about
Sorry,
Mario for
sorry,
hours.
yeah. Going back to the subject, Mario Tennis 64 is a really excellent game though. You had your super shots, your little tricks that you could pull. The cast characters was really great. Honestly though, even the graphics pretty much hold up. You know, of course, the crowd's like flat. And I think the developers weren't necessarily Nintendo based; they were Camelot.
Yeah.
I
One,
believe, yeah, was who developed the
Camelot
game.
did that. They did Mario Golf. And it's weird. They did Golden
Yeah.
Sun. Talk about a jump from Golden Sun on the GBA to fucking Mario Tennis and Mario Golf. And the Mario Golf game on GBA, I don't like it. It's a boring ass RPG where like you're kids and it takes you 20 minutes to actually play golf. It's kind of dog
Oh,
shit.
really?
Yeah,
I never actually played that one.
don't.
Um, but
Because it
as far
starts off like, oh, it's Mario and golf clubs, and all of a sudden it's like, where's all the Mario characters? You're just kids on a boring golf resort, and it's like bad animations, or what the fuck is this? Anyway,
as far as the sports game goes, though, you did pick me a good one. Unfortunately for me, growing up when this game came out, this was also at the age of GoldenEye 64 and around that time, so I completely almost ignored the title when it came out. I remember renting it, buddy of mine being over, and we ended up playing my own copy of. I can't remember if it was Cruising USA or GoldenEye, but we were just that age where it was like, we want to see girls in bikinis dance while we race, or like we want to shoot each other. So like it kind of got put to the wayside. Like it was a fun game to play for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we stopped playing it. Mario Baseball, on the other hand, that one was a fun one to stick with, but something about Mario Tennis, it just seemed so basic and just a little too kiddie that it got dropped for me as a kid. Now as an adult, I'm kind of like, Mario Tennis is pretty fucking badass. But yeah, with that being said, though, the rating of the game that you gave me, I give it an 8.5. It's a fun fucking game. It's got a good cast of characters. Even Birdo is one of your playables. Hell yeah.
Special moves. Each unique character has their own animations and voices. It's great for the time, man.
Oh, and wasn't that the introduction of Waluigi?
Was it?
One of the sports games was.
One of them. Well, for the time, man, you talk about a complete package. You totally got you got a Mario-esque amount of characters.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then your Bizarro Land Mario characters.
Yeah, tons of stages also. Tons of detail in this. Camelot always put detail into their work, and it shows in this. One of the must-plays on the system, in my opinion. I'd give it a 9.
Definitely.
I'd go higher, give it a 9, just for how well
Wow.
it's aged.
Despite being go 0.5 higher, sir. Now, the only reason I'm giving it a 0.5 is really because I just look back on it as a kid and we got bored with it when we shouldn't have. But
because for us, it came at that time in the late '90s when we're like tweens getting in a team where we always want to do what the older kids are into. So simulation games were the hot shit. They're like, we wanted to, if we're gonna play tennis, be like, well, they're playing act like topspin, shit like that. Actual tennis games. So that's just natural progression. I feel like kids always want to do what the older kids are into, and we're in that time where I don't want to be fucking.
And then we weren't really into tennis. As I said, we'd rather shoot each other, or we'd rather race.
Pete Sampras is a pussy. Mario Tennis, go check it out. You gave me a game with, you know what? And it was fine. It's just not a lot to say, honestly.
Yeah, it's basic baseball.
Yeah, it was baseball. I didn't stream it this week. I didn't stream it. I didn't have time actually in my schedule to play a full game. But that's one of the reasons. But it wasn't the first game. RBI baseball on the NES. It wasn't the first game to have the official license roster. It was like the second game to feature that, I believe, because MLB on the NES was the first. This though, it's baseball. It's I don't have a lot to say about it. There's nothing wrong with it for an NES game and a baseball game. It's one of the better ones because there's like 2,000 baseball games on the NES.
It plays well. It actually plays well.
And the little guys are cute. They're little stubby guys.
They look like little Fisher-Price guys.
They look like those little Russian dolls, and then there's a doll inside another doll that's littler, and another doll, and another doll.
Or Fisher-Price dolls. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about when I say that, but that's what they remind me of. Little Fisher-Price people.
For some reason, in my sick head, when I was playing this, it made me want to play that game on the NES that's baseball where you're robots. You know what I'm talking about?
That's a cool game. That's different. I don't know why you would do that, but yeah, that game's funny.
Or Baseball Stars. The best NES baseball game is Baseball Stars, in my opinion. It was a port of the arcade, but still the best. But that's fine. I have no clue how much it goes for. I'm gonna guess $3.
Probably, yeah. Well, it was an unlicensed game, from what my understanding was. It came mine from, if I remember correctly, was one of those weird black, weirdly shaped NES games. You know what I mean?
The Tengen and third party.
But it just played well. I remember one of my friends had another baseball game, and it was just so shitty. It looked better, it sounded better, but the gameplay sucked balls. And then we played this one, and it was like, wow, you can throw a curveball. Like, whoa, wow, you can actually move your bat around. It's just wow, the simple fucking things of baseball.
Another good one that I played the shit out of as a kid on the NES was Super Bases Loaded 3. That was really good for the NES, actually. But Tanner, what do you think about this game? I mean, not a lot to say either, really.
Yeah, no, as I said, it was just a fun game to play. Honestly, just a fun baseball game. I played it with my dad. Like it was cut dry and simple. And it flowed well. It played well.
7.5. That's what I'll give it.
That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I'm there. I'm actually more at a 7. Again, damn you with you.
But I went first this time. That's
yeah.
We already gave ourselves games of the week at the beginning of the episode, but to refresh, Tannen's playing Klonoa, Door to Phantomville on PSX, and I'm checking out also on PSX the X-Files point and click adventure, which sounds like the dreadful shits. Cannot wait.
I kind of want to play it with you because I mean it's like we could Mystery Science Theater this thing at the same time. Like we can riff on this. I mean it's an FMV game for God's sake.
Break out the silhouettes then for that stream. Mystery Science a little bit.
Hey, just to go in before we quit. Originally, your game of the week, by the way, was going to be Princess Tomato on the NES. I don't know if you know much about that game. It is kind of a fun, weird RPG. Ever get a chance to play it? Huh?
I said cool.
Also, let's see here. Going back to news real quick. Valve did buy Firewatch developer Campo Santo. Don't know what kind of direction that's going to be. Of course, like that means that a lot of games are going to start being developed on Steam. But Firewatch was a really fucking cool game. So hopefully with Valve and their financial backing behind that development team, God knows what we're going to see. Probably something really cool. And also don't know the name of it, don't know how to get in touch with it, but you folks on Facebook can get in touch with a God of War text-based Facebook chat game that is a sequel to the new God of War game where you play as Kratos' son. It is text-based, like an old school, early 1980s RPG. So good luck with all that. A lot of people actually, like from what I read, said it was pretty decent for being a text-based game. But use your imagination.
Pretend it's a Commodore 64.
Pretty much. Pop in that tape.
Hashtag pop in that tape.
Yeah. Pop in that tape and that floppy.
That being said, Tannen! One more time. Where can everybody check you out?
Where can everybody check us out?
Check us out.
Ooh. Yeah, where can everybody check us out, Travis? I'm letting you plug it.
I got the scepter. I've been handed the baton this week. At the Hibiki TMD and at Otannen's Bum. Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Hit that subscribe right down below. And on Facebook. Give it some love. Tannen, we did it.
This we had episode 39. Holy shit.
Next week, the big 4-0, my friend. Maybe we'll have a guest. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, man. 40 is important.
Milestone.
Holy shit.
They're creeping up.
Yeah. I say every time we got to do something special.
We'll see what tricks we have up our sleeves. Until next week, this is the reset button. Let's hit it.